Hello, this is Philip, and Brian, aka PandaPong, has asked me to boost three Hurricane 3s at 2.1 degrees, 2.1 millimeter thickness at 40 degrees, but different version of them, and they're gonna do a blind test. So we have the provincial version, 4.1 40 degrees, and then national version, 2.1 40 degrees, and also the Chenmeng, 40 degrees, 2.1. So star, this is what we call the star version. There's actually one higher called the player version, but it's too expensive, I assume. So we're gonna boost these. So here I'm gonna teach you guys the process of how to boost them. I'm gonna take all of them out first. So first we have the provincial one. As you can see, it's not a complete square. There are corners on there. So that you can tell it's the provincial, and this is the national version. It's got four sides. It's a complete square, and when you open it, it will have like no naming on the sponge. Now this is the star version, similar to the player version. It will have name on it, so you will see the letter Chenmeng on there. So what we're gonna use to boost is the Haifu Black. This is used by the Chinese national team. Usually they use either the Haifu Black or the Haifu Yellow. I know Wang Chuqin uses Haifu Black because he has a picture and Haifu Black was behind him. So let's do it. So let's do provincial first. So what we're gonna do is I have 3 identical blades, and I'm just gonna randomly choose them. Yeah, as you can see that this is provincial, and you can see if you have a light here that the nail layer, I would say the nail layer, the glue layer, it's not quite even. It's kind of like a pattern on there, which is, I don't know. I don't think it's that good, but it is what it is, right? So they requested to boost it not super hard, so I'm gonna do 3 very thin layers on it. So you can see this is not much. So yeah, I'm just gonna brush it over. So first layer, very thin. Brush it evenly. Push it a little bit hard, medium strength, into the sponge. Go over it a couple of times. And make sure it is spread evenly. This is the provincial version. Use all the sponge. And make sure that you put it at an angle, and then the light will see that the whole thing is spread evenly. Okay, perfect. A couple more. It's too thick on this side. So make sure this is spread super evenly, which it is, and that's it. So I'm gonna let this sit for about 4 hours, and then we'll do the second layer later. The next one, I don't even know what this one is. So this is a normal national because there is no Chenmeng on there. I use this paper towel because I will take the protection layer off later at the second layer, because the sponge will dome pretty much a lot, and I want to make sure the top sheet is stretching along with the sponge as well. So not too much, very thin layer, and just evenly apply it onto the sponge like this. Yeah, this is a very thin layer. I will go slightly heavier on my own, but I use like 100 degrees. So I'm using a light to see how evenly spread this is. I want to go through it a couple more times to make sure this is very even. Okay. A little bit more this side. All right, so this is pretty even. I'm gonna take this and wait for 4 hours, and the last one is the channel version. Right here, as you can see, here it says 全蒙on here in Chinese. So either the player version or the star version will have the markings like that, their name on the rubber, on the sponge. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see, but the national version and the star version, the nail layer, the nail pre-boosted glue layer, it's very even. It doesn't have any pattern on there. So, I mean, I guess it's a sign of higher quality, but I don't think it matters since we're putting glue on them and it's gonna even out. Put too little here. But yeah, just light boost on all 3 of them to make sure they're not super heavy and just barely glaze every single spot on the sponge. Once again, I will take the protection layer right before when I apply the second layer because I'm trying to avoid oxidation, especially for the provincial version. Sometimes it's like a Russian roulette, right? It will have oxidation sometimes and will have like marks on top of the rubber. It probably doesn't affect performance, but if you have OCD and you want to have your rubber look nice, that's a big problem. So I'm trying to make sure the top sheet doesn't get oxidized. I'm gonna go through it a couple more times, and that is the first layer done. That's the first layer done, and then I'll wait for 4 hours to apply the second layer. See you guys. All right, it's been about 4 hours. It's time for second layer. So before I do the second layer, I do peel off the protector. So now I want the top sheet to expand with the sponge. So this one is the provincial version. I'm gonna take the top sheet off. As you can see, the first layer is still not too boosted. It's still decently flat. And also the provincial one, it's kind of domed right out of the package. So yeah, which is very interesting because usually I see they like reverse dome, and I hate that so much. Okay, so that was the normal national, and this is the Chenmeng star version. None of them are oxidized yet, so that's a plus. So yeah, second layer, here we go. Very light. Let's do the provincial one first. Make sure I get like a very light layer going. Don't want too much. Very light layer. It's not even dripping right here. So provincial first. Now I'm gonna hold it by the towel. So the top sheet, the top sheet will grip onto the paper towel and I don't get anything underneath. And I won't get the top sheet dirty as well. So just push it in using the light source to make sure it's spread very evenly. So you can see there is scales, kind of a pattern going on with the pre-boosted nail layer on the provincial one, and it's very smooth. Doesn't have like any pattern or scale looking layer for the normal national and the star national version. Okay, so now after the second layer, the effect of doming will be increased dramatically. It will dome very, very hard after a little while. So can't wait for the result on that one. So that was provincial, and now second layer for the normal national. Once again, not too much. As you can see, after I take the protector layer off, it's barely doming at all. Because first layer always have the least amount of dome. Put too little here, doesn't even cover the whole thing. So I'm gonna get a little bit more going. Okay, good. This will pretty much cover it. Yep. Evenly. So here we go. All right, that looks good. And finally, the star Chenmeng one. Yeah, this one just looks smooth. I'm just rotating it so I can see I cover every single square inch on the sponge, so it's very even. And yes, I do have equipment OCD. I try to like make sure everything is like up to 100%, you know. So why play tip with tennis? I know I'm the problem, not the equipment, and unless it's like humid, then nothing we can do there. Okay, so that is that. And then after a whole day, make sure you wait. This is where you need to be patient, and you had to wait a whole day. So the next day, tomorrow night, I will put on glue there, and then one final super light layer on top of the glue, and I'll put them on the blade. See you guys. All right, so now it's been 24 hours. So what we're gonna do is check the doming of each one. So as you can see, the provincial has the least amount of dome after 24 hours. It was actually doming one of the hardest, but afterwards, when it calms down, it's the least right now. And then the second more dome is the normal national. As you can see, this is slightly domes more than the provincial. And the one that domes the hardest is the star Chenmeng. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is add 2 layers of glue on top of it, and then one more super thin layer of booster. So I'm using Revolution 3 normal. The pro of this is it's very watery, so it's super easy to spread. The con of it is it's not super easy to form a layer that's easy to leave the sponge when you take it out. You need multiple layers for it to have a protecting like effect, an elastic effect. So yeah, I'm going 2 very thin there. And one thing you know that you waited long enough is when you have it, it's not forming like water droplets. It's very evenly spreading after a little bit. So yeah, just 2 very thin layer of glue. I'm doing the provincial first. You try to make it as smooth as possible. I know usually sometime I do 3 and then I realize I'm not that strong, I'm not that guy, and I do 2 now. So 2 layers of glue here and then 1 more layer of booster. Then it's ready to be put on the blade. Go 1 more run. Just to try to get it as smooth as possible. I'm also using the normal Revolution 3 sponge that came with the package. So very even. Next one is, you can see how much slightly more domed than the provincial. just a little bit, not too much. Make sure it's super even. All right. Last one, as you can see, this is a Chenmeng one. This is domed actually fairly like a lot harder than the other two. So, and I put like the same amount of booster on them. I'm not like 100% accurate, but I'm pretty sure that it's very close, since I've been doing this for a very long time, like 6 to 8 years. I forgot, but ever since 2019 or before that, I've been using Hurricane 3 exclusively on forehand. So make sure it's super even. Okay, so that's a thin layer of glue, first layer of glue on all three. And I will wait about 30 minutes and apply the second layer of glue. All right, second layer of glue. Here we go. First, we're gonna do the provincial one. Oh, it's like a hair here. My bad. Once again, try to spread it very evenly, as even as possible. So when we glue it, we don't want to see any streaks or anything. No pattern or marks. None of those. Just gonna be super flat. With a boosted pimple like looking, of course. Because they are boosted. As you can see, like after each like glue layer, the rubber reverse domes a little bit. So you can see now the provincial isn't even doming that much anymore. Okay, so that's provincial second layer of glue done. Now the normal national. Oh. Move this out of the way. All right. Secondly, for normal national, and then finally national star Chen Meng. Oh, see, again, this one is significantly more domed than the other two. Just as I expected. So. So after this layer, we're gonna wait for about 30 minutes again. Wait for it to completely dry, and then one just a tiny bit of booster, like a layer. And then that's it. No more boosters. And then one more layer on the rubber, and then 2 layers on the blade, and we glue it together. The reason why I'm using 2 layers on the blade is because I'm using Revolution 3 normal. It's very watery. It's not very, the viscosity is very low. So every single layer I'm putting on is very thin. So I want to have like the glue layer on the blade very evenly, so 2 layers will make it very even and just more consistent. And like I said, the viscosity is low, so I can spam layers without waiting too much and affect performance. So that's the second layer done on all of them, and we'll wait for 30 minutes. All right, final layer of booster. This one I want to have it super thin, as thin as possible, just to like lightly cover it. All the process is taken straight from Yin Hang, a former CNT national team, Chinese national team member, and he has a tutorial on Bilibili, and I'm just copying him. So yeah, it's just super light. This will dry very fast. This will dry like in 6 hours. I'm gonna wait about 12 and then put it on the paddle. So this is final layer for the provincial. Final layer for the normal national. And then final layer for the star Chen Meng. This is more for like to combine the glue layers with the booster to have it a more softer feeling. You can hold the ball longer. This is not really for like trying to really boost it in the sponge. So that's why I have a very thin layer, because it will take forever to soak in if I put too much. There is like 2 layers in between the sponge and the final layer of booster. So, it didn't quite do enough here, but oh well, we're just gonna make do. Okay, I think that's about it. And yeah, that's it. That's the final layer of booster on all 3. And I'm gonna wait for about 12 hours and then to put it on the blade. All right, so Brian and his friends, and they're all my friends too, so they set up a test. So we have 3 Fanzhidong LC here, identical model. They all range around 87 to 88 and 89 grams, so they're all within 2 grams of each other. They're made a little bit different though. X, Y, and K. So the first serial letter on the serial number, the first letter, is the year that they were made. So X is the earliest, and then Y, and then K is the most recent. They skipped Z, most likely because Zhang Jike left. he went to donning. So, right. So we're gonna go in order. So we're gonna pick this one first. We're gonna have a random number generator, 1, 2, 3, and we're gonna generate one. Let's go provincial. 2, let's go national, normal national. 3, let's go Chenmeng national. Okay. So we're gonna generate the first one. I'm gonna click it. Okay, so I clicked it. You guys hear the click. So third one, the Chenmeng National star one, will go on the first blade, the X letter. The second one, if it's still gonna be a 3, I'm gonna reroll. So the provincial will go on the letter Y, and then of course the normal national will go on letter K. So to find out, like, to differentiate them, if they can tell, because I cleaned everything, I sanded everything, so it's all cleaned up right now. And then the K letter have glazer on the back, so this will be normal national. The Y letter Y has Dignix on IC, and it has wear like on the lower area of the rubber, like here. So this one will have the provincial, and then the X one has wear like kind of in the middle-ish right here. Instead of like the lower area, it's in the middle-ish. The O9C on the backhand rubber, that's the X letter, and this one will have the Chenmeng star. So that's it, and then we'll get to gluing tomorrow. All right, it's gluing time. So what I do here is time for assembly. I'm gonna put 2 layers on each blade of glue, and then put 1 more layer on the rubbers, and then we'll go from there. So this is the first Fender ALC. I'll put a little more. Usually when I do the first layer, I do it a lot, a little bit more, just because the wood will soak in some of the glue, and also the sponge will soak in some of the glue as well. Yeah, I always use a light source over there, so I can see that it's spread very evenly. Could have used a little bit more glue, but we'll work with this. The more glue you put in, if you put the right glue, the faster the paddle will be. But it's a little bit harder to hit through. So how many layers of glue do you do? That's up to personal preference. I know some Chinese national team does 5. I know some other people does 2. So yeah, also depends on the rubber you guys do. So this is done for the first X letter Fender ALC. Oh, it's like a little ball here. Get rid of it. Okay, second one. This is a Y one. All right. Good. This is done for Y, the first layer of glue. Once again, you can only put if you want to put only 1 layer on the blade, that's fine. I'm putting 2 because the Revolution 3 I use has a very low viscosity. So I want the glue to be very even, the layers, after before I put the rubbers on. Evenness matter, right? So it's more consistent when you play with it. That's why I put 2. So the second layer kind of evens out the first layer, if the first layer is not that even. Okay, so now onto the rubbers. So it's been about 12 hours. since the final glue layer. We have the provincial, this is the normal national, and this is the Chenmeng Star National. As you can see here, I'm gonna prop these three up. Okay, so provincial is dome like kind of like this. I'm gonna prop them up and then drop it. National, I'm gonna prop it up as well. Oh, it's kind of sticking on the. Prop it up in the middle. Drop it like this. And then Chenmeng Star National, prop it up and drop it like this. As you can clearly see, even though I put like pretty much the same amount of glue, you can see that the doming is different. The same amount of booster, sorry. The provincial, the dome, it's still pretty good. We got a very good dome here, and then but it's still the lowest. And the national one here, as you can see, this is more of a dome, and the Chungwon one is doming absolutely crazy. This is like a bridge looking thing. So yeah, so this is a doming situation. This is just as I expected because I know how they build. Like, I know they react like this and then they play like that. So we're gonna put the final layer of glue on the provincial. I'm gonna rotate it because I think the blade goes this way, so this top half doesn't really matter too much. I mean the top portion of this. So to get a very more even layer, I'm gonna go this way. Okay, that's one. This is the normal national. This is the cranked away. So one more thing is you make sure the glues are completely dry before you put on another layer. And of course booster as well. So the sweet spot for me, since here in southern USA, it's very humid sometimes. I wait about 30 minutes to almost an hour between every single layer of glue. That's both on the blade and the rubber. Especially if you are gluing a tensor rubber with cake sponge, make sure after the first layer you wait like almost an hour, because that thing takes forever to dry, especially if it's humid. So this is pretty much done. the normal, national. Final layer for the Chenmeng star, and this is really domed, as you can see. This is gonna be like I'm gonna put the glue like more in the middle since it's so domed, and hopefully it doesn't drip down. I mean I've seen more doming, but before, but they requested to not go super hard on the boost. So the 3 layers I did are very thin. Usually I do like a medium, medium, and then a thin. Here we're doing thin, thin, and then thin. The 3 layers. So if I remember correctly, Chenmeng is going on the X letter, and Y will get provincial, and the newest K Viscaria, I mean not Viscaria, Fanjindong LC will get the normal national. So everything I was saying, what I'm doing here is just to make sure the glue layer is very even, because consistency matters. And I have OCD for equipment only. For equipment only, like yo-yos, table tennis, and computer parts. I really have OCD. I want them to run perfectly. So yeah, this looks great. So after this, I'm gonna wait for 30 to 40 minutes. After this, I'm gonna put one more layer on the blade, and then we'll glue them together and cut them up. Alright, it's been 30 minutes. The final layer of glue on the blade. This layer is to make sure it's even for more consistency. This is the K version, the K serial, Fanjindong LLC. Once again, I'm using Revolution 3. It's has very low viscosity, so it's very easy to spread, very easy to use. But it takes a long time to dry, and you need a lot of layers to form like a perfect layer to peel off. So it peels off easily when you try to change rubbers or re-glue, reboost, or move the rubber from one blade to another. Okay, this side's not too even. Trying to make this as even as possible. All right, this is great. Now this is letter Y. Put a little too much. I'm gonna take some out. All right. Final X one. Well, this is annoying. Got a hair in here somehow. It happens. Okay, now it's out. All right, that's it. So now 30 to 40 more minutes. That's assemble time. All right, it's assemble time. Firstly, we're gonna do the provincial on the white blade. All right, I do see a little bit of oxidation, but oh well, whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna center it here. Make sure it's even. Okay, press the bottom. Use any type of roller. I use this, and then I'm gonna lightly press it forward, so I don't stretch the rubber. So if they decide to peel it off, it will stay true to its size and will not shrink much. So we didn't get too much oxidation. Actually, there's a bit here, but that's just DHS provincial. Nothing you can do about it. And then just go over it like medium strength for a little bit. Okay, make sure there's no bubbles and stuff, everything's even. And I like to press on the edges to make sure it's fully on. Looks good. We're gonna cut this. I use the Evolution 3 scissors. I've been using this for like a very long time, so. Just to make sure the edges are good. Yeah, it's a decent cut. Very round. As you can see, you guys can kind of see the pin post. That means it's pretty boosted. And yeah, that's this paddle done. On to the next one. So next one we're gonna do, I believe, the K1, the newest 500 ALC with the normal national. So I'm gonna get that. So this is the K1. This one has the glazer on the back instead of D09C. And this is normal national, doesn't have Chenma on it. Okay. Let's go. Roll it very lightly. Go along with the edges. Looks good. Cutting time. All right, another perfect cut. Very good. As you can see, you guys can see the pimples as well. That's because it's boosted. All right, the last one, letter X with Star Hurricane 3 Chenmeng. This one's the most domed. And the least oxidized. This is like clean. Interesting. Okay, make sure this lines up. And then gently roll forward. Yeah, this one has the most pimple sticking, well, not sticking out, but you can see the pimples more clear because its reaction to boost is doming more. It has more reaction to booster. Yeah, time to cut it. Now, all these three, to be honest, is not super domed. If you boost like heavy, like three medium layers, or 3 medium 1 light, or you're going heavy on 42 degrees rubber, which sometimes I do, it will dome like even more crazy. What I would do is I just wait another day, let the dome flatten more. Sometimes if I overboost, I would just wait 2 days to wait it out, and make sure it's not too domed when you're gluing. You want the rubber to stick on the paddle. Another thing I do is I use 400 grit sandpaper to just lightly run over it a little bit on the surface. Make sure lightly. I don't want any paint off or anything. And that will help with the adhesion. The rubber will stick onto the paddle better. All right, this is it. This is the final blade X 500 ALC with Star Chenmeng on it. So that is all three paddle fully assembled. I'm gonna clean the top sheet a little bit because of dust accumulation, and just a paper towel gets on the paddle a little bit. So that's it, all three. And let's see if I can tell which one's which. So this one is normal national, if I remember. Yeah, normal national. This one with the bottom. This one is provincial, and this one is Chenmeng Star. So thank you all for watching, and then here comes the test.